Hello, my lovelies. Good evening and welcome to the Queen's Curry Kitchen. You are in my kitchen in Queens where I make curry. My name, if you don't know already, is Nupur. You can call me Miss Nupur, you can call me Chef Nupur, but when I'm not cooking for my business, I'm still a mom and a wife who cooks dinner for their family every single day. So today we are going to make a very interesting dish, and it's actually a combination of something as simple as okra, a few humble ingredients like onions and ginger, and I'm also going to be using some long hot peppers, which are these. Now usually my food isn't spicy and I don't like to use too many green chilies or heat in my food because that's not something I enjoy. But this particular dish calls for a little bit of tang, and so I chose the long hot peppers because they're not super spicy and yet they are flavorful. So we need to start out with okra. That's what you're going to start out with. I've already cut it and kept it ready. The name of the dish, hello Kina, how are you? The dish that we are making is called Achari Bhindi. You can do this with just okra. You can do this with okra and potatoes. You can do this with okra, potatoes, and onions, whatever you have on hand. It's been a minute, I'm telling you. It's been way too long, Kina. Okay, so you can do this with whatever kind of combination you want between the okra, the onions, and the potatoes. Okay, the other thing that we are going to use is some good old oil. I'm using olive oil in a pasta sauce bottle. Sorry. And one really important ingredient that we're going to use, which is why it's called achari, is because achar means pickle in Hindi. And we are going to use a store-bought mango pickle to give it that base flavor and to give it that oomph or that tang or that really nice kick to it, so that it's not the boring bhindi aloo or bhindi that we make every single day. It's just going to have a little bit of a twist to it. If you have bell peppers, which right now are everywhere in all the colors, definitely add those. I didn't have those, so I'm using long peppers, but if you have bell peppers in any color or flavor, definitely go for it. Hello Geeta, good afternoon. How are you doing today? Okay, ideally you should make this with mustard oil. Make sure you have the edible mustard oil, but if you don't have it, that's totally fine. We are going to make it in an olive oil, and that's quite okay. Now I'm going to be using my electric skillet for this. Let's get this process started. We don't want any hair in our food. Okay, so I'm going to flip the camera so you guys can see what is going on. You'll be able to see all the action that is going on over here. I will try to keep an eye on the comments as much as I can, but if there is a few seconds of delay between me being able to look at a comment and take a minute to answer it, then please forgive me, because I'm just not going to be able to see the screen as much from here on. Okay, so this is our electric skillet, and this is non-stick. I have set it to stir fry mode, and the temperature right now is going to go up to about 15. It's going to heat up for 15 seconds, and then we are going to get ready to rock and roll. Okay, so I'm going to already put in the oil. Now okra, just as a vegetable, unfortunately sucks up a lot of oil, and so does eggplant. Those are just two vegetables which you very rarely can make without too much oil, and that's the sad part. But I'll show you a trick where you can, after you're done cooking, you can actually do something to it where it'll draw out all the oil. Okay, is this even doing something today or no? Yes, it's doing something. Okay. All right, so we have got this started. I'm going to start out with some oil. What I have here is a small onion that I've thinly sliced. I prefer to use white onions because they don't make your dish black when they're caramelized. We won't be over caramelizing the onions in any case, but whenever you make any curry, if you don't want your curry to be dark brown, then use white onions. White onions will take on the color of turmeric very nicely, and it'll have a yellow glow to your curries instead of becoming totally dark, because once you add the coriander seed powder and if you have red onions, it just makes your dish really, really dark. Here we have some ginger juliennes. I've used organic ginger, so I haven't peeled off the skin. But if you're using regular ginger, then peel the skin off and then cut it into little matchsticks. Some of the other things that we're using, I already mentioned about the long hot peppers. Those are going to go in. This is one entire pepper. I'm going to teach you a little trick to how to pick the chilies and the peppers when you go food shopping. So if you see this stem that's green, that means they've been freshly picked. You see how it's turning brown at the top of the tips? So when the entire stem becomes brown like that, that means that pepper is really old, and you'll see that it won't have this hardness on the shell. It'll have when you put your finger on it, it's going to leave a dent. When it's like this, it's nice and crisp. That means it's nice and fresh. Okay? We are also going to use some seeded spices. We will use cumin seeds. We will use my absolute favorite, nigella seeds or onion seeds. And we are going to use fenugreek seeds. These are called metra in Hindi. And of course, we will use a little bit of this pickle. You can use any pickle that you have at home. It doesn't really work too well with South Indian style pickles. I feel like I've tried it and it just usually has a bitter bite to it. I don't know the reason for it, but it does. I'm going to add everything into the hot oil. Don't add too many of these because it tends to have a very bitter taste. So just add a few. You can also add some mustard seeds. I'm not doing that today, but you can. Okay. Now from here in goes a little bit of the mustard oil. If you want to take the masala, you can actually get in there and get some of this part, which is already the cooked, preserved achari part. You would be adding a lot more in your case because you will be making this from scratch. So add a good generous teaspoonful. I've already chopped some pieces of the achar and put it alongside my okra. So I won't be putting too much achar at this stage. Okay. In goes, whoopsie. In goes the ginger juliennes. We want them to be well cooked. We don't want raw ginger coming in anybody's mouth. And I will put in some of the hot peppers. As soon as these seeds hit the hot oil, it's a really nice aroma. I do have to keep my cover handy from time to time so that it does not splatter. If you've ever made an achari anything, drop it in the comments below. There's also achari paneer. There's a recipe for that on my YouTube channel. I do a lot of achari dishes. I've done achari chicken, achari lamb. Oh, the hot peppers. Oh my God. And I don't even eat that much hot pepper. So some of the tricks to making anything achari is it should be tart, it should be spicy, and it should have a combination of peppers, crushed red peppers, asafoetida, and all these seeds. Just give it a quick stir. We're not going to add salt right now. We will just allow this to get some color. I'm going to go and grab my asafoetida. Be right back. If you enjoy our cooking videos, definitely take a second to share our page with your friends so they can also make this at home. This is a really good dish that you can make ahead of time. This is asafoetida that I just added. And if you're having a Diwali party or you're doing like a Diwali lunch or something for your friends, this is a dish you can make ahead and it's going to taste absolutely phenomenal the next day. So the more it sits in the fridge, the better it gets. We are also going to get ready with some lemon juice because lemon is the thing that's going to help cut across all the grime. The slime, not the grime. So we certainly will keep the lemon juice handy. I won't add it right now. I will add it towards the end of the cooking process. Oh, the combination of the asafoetida with all these spices, so good. Now some of the dry spices from my masala box that are going to go in. If you don't work with the masala box, you're really missing out, and you are spoiling your spices by taking them out in big quantities every time. Head over to my website, queenscurrykitchen.com. You can get this masala box with or without the spices, fully loaded or by itself. If you've ordered the masala box before and you want just the spices, you can order the refill of the spices just by themselves. So this is some coriander seed powder that's going in. Some Kashmiri red chili powder, which is paprika, just for color. A little bit of dry fenugreek herbs. Do not worry, you're going to get all these herbs and spices. A little garam masala for good measure. Turmeric powder. And of course salt. You're going to get all of these in your masala box when you order it from the Queen's Curry Kitchen website. Shipping is free all over the country. So even though shipping prices have gone up, we have not changed our policy. We still ship for free. So this might be a good time to get in there and order your stuff. Now you see how the slime is forming? The way to cook okra to avoid all of this sliminess, I'm going to go ahead and add the onions. The onions are to be added after the okra has been semi-fried, unlike other Indian dishes where the onions have to be caramelized first. So this helps to maintain the crunch of the onions, and it also helps to give a nice textural contrast to your dish. You can see this is sticking to the bottom of the pan a little bit. I am going to add a little lemon juice, not water, just a little lemon juice to deglaze it, because that's where all the flavor is and I do not want it to burn. The thing with an electric skillet is that you really cannot control the heat too high or low or anything, unlike a stove top. Everything just keeps on cooking and keeps on cooking. So I can actually reduce the temperature. I can reduce the temperature a little bit, but that's pretty much all I can do. Okay. So this is going to keep going. The way to cook this really nicely is by covering it halfway, okay? So don't, if you see that it's sticking to the sides or sticking at a particular place, just steer clear of that so that it doesn't burn the rest of your dish. Spread it in an even layer. If you add potatoes, you will see they will also get cooked. You have to always cook okra half off and half on. So leave room for the steam to escape. And the other half should be covered so that it will be nice and tender. You also have to stir it frequently so that it will be cooked at the right temperature and it's not going to fall apart, okay? So I'm going to start putting these things away because we really don't need that much of it. If you cook this on the skillet, you can always turn the heat to medium and then put the cover half off, half on. That's literally the best way to do it. I'm going to grab a spoon to add some more of the Achari masala towards the end of the cooking process. So I'm going to go right in there and I'm going to dig for some of the oil and the masala, and then a couple of big pieces. Oh my god, these hot peppers are really making me cough. I don't do heat at all. So you see, this right here is gold for this dish. You're going to keep sprinkling a little bit of it. Then again, toss everything together to make sure nothing is getting burnt. This is a non-stick electric skillet. So it won't essentially burn your dish or anything. But there are pockets of heat that get created where it will do this. The way to prevent that is we can add a little more oil. Oh my god, this heat from the peppers. I'm so not used to that. I'm going to add just a little more oil to create a barrier between these burning bits and the cooking bits. Give it a gentle toss. Now remember, when you add salt to a dish like this, Always be careful because our pickles or achar, as we call it, already have quite a high concentration of salt. So if you're gonna keep on adding salt without thinking, then by the time you add your achar back, you add your masalas, it's gonna get super salty, and then there's no way of taking out the salt from the dish that's already been made, right? I just went ahead and loosened up some of the spices that were sticking to. This is gonna get tossed. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add some more of the long hot peppers, not this one, of course. And I will turn